Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Art and Recap. I'm your artist Faye, and today we are reading chapter 208 till 213 of Lord of the Mysteries. Basically, this is the end of volume 1, and I am so excited, guys. Oh my gosh, it's been such a long journey till we get here, and then next part in volume 2, I'm so excited! Anyway, let's get on with it. Chapter 208 Cry. Captain Duns is on his way to die. I'm just telling you guys this right now. And Leonard and Klein, I was gonna say Leonard and Mitchell. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Faye, how many chapters has it been? Anyway, Leonard and Klein couldn't do anything besides watch as the man walked to his death. Because all they can do right now is count down from 10 seconds to 1. And Captain Dunes, he was facing off Migos at the reception hall, and Migos, she's practically dead. That lady, she's like a monster right now. One of her eyeballs is hanging from her eye socket, and just like, remember in the previous chapters, she clawed her skin off and was showing bones. She's like a crazy, creepy thing that's like also pregnant. So that's like double the scary stuff happening over here. Also, she's balding because she was ripping out parts of her hair when she was talking with Leonard about Lanivus. Because same sis, if I would be talking about my man Lanivus, who is a scammer and abandoned me and my demon child, to search for him, I would be clawing at my skin and pulling out my hairs too, especially when I'm sitting next to a hottie that's like trying his best not to vomit at the sight of me. Oh, girl. Anyway, Migos sees Captain approaching her with Saint Selena's urn and just like, you fucking bitch, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to kill my child. I am not gonna let you kill my baby. And so she attacked the captain, but the captain, of course, he opened Saint Selena's urn and darkness consumed the whole building base. Some sort of tentacle-like threads emerged from the urn and rushed over to Migos to, subdue her. And during this time, Klein and Leonard finished counting down to 10, and they rushed to assist Captain Dunes, and Leonard threw a punch at her. And before he could do that, Migos actually was able to do some sort of curse, a blasphemy curse type thing. And she can basically control the people who heard her blasphemy through this curse kind of thing. But of course, before she could do that to Leonard punched her, and I'm pretty sure he twisted his wrist. He broke his own wrist to get out of her grasp. And Klein, during that time, he used what's it called, the flaring sun charm the flaring sun charm towards her, and it burst into light and burned everything. Saint Selena's tentacles, because they're like from the Evernight Goddess's church, right, or something like that, it retreated because it's in their instinct to get away from the light. So they retreated slightly, and Migos kind of got a little bit free. And just as they thought that they were done with her, that she's dead, again, she's not, because that would be way too easy for a finale, right? So they're like, what the fuck? Because she's now more terrifying than ever. She is burned to a crisp. Her skin is falling off. Her hair, I'm pretty sure she's bald now. And her eyes are gone. There's only like twin flames, like white flames behind her eyes. And yeah, she's just like terrifying, and she's still pregnant. That's the worst part. She's still pregnant. And then Leonard, he used the blood thief cell thing, the sealed artifact, on her so that he can use her blasphemy spell, and he told her to submit. In the name of Jesus Christ, submit, motherfucker! Or wait, the Evernight Goddess. If you guys can tell, I've been watching Pantheon Stockings season 2 lately, and I don't know. Some of their humor is like bleeding into me. Klein was about to throw the second flaring sun charm towards Migos, but before he could do that, Migos' head, it burst like a watermelon in between a lady's muscular thighs. If you know, you know. And when she did that, she was able to free herself from the blasphemy curse that Leonard put her in. And that in turn made Leonard freeze because, I don't know, buffer, lag, I don't know. And that was she was able to punch him in the face, I guess, and throw him towards a wall where he fainted. And he was out of the battle. Now, the only thing she has left to face is actually Captain Dunes and Klein. And Klein is like, oh fuck. But you know what's worse? He started hearing a baby fucking cry, and that's why the title is called Cry, not because he and Leonard were crying tears of blood at the beginning of the chapter, but because her baby was fucking crying. Chapter 209, Light. Okay, so the baby, the hellspawn, is now crying because it wants to get out of the belly to help out its mother. And you know what? Why are you gonna help out your mother? Your mother is dead. You burst her head like a fucking balloon. So, good job there, kid. Anyway, Captain Dunes and Klein, they are both crying tears of blood because, again, the pressure from the baby, the hellspawn, is like getting to them. And Captain Dunes, he realizes that there is only one way for them to actually survive and win all of this and save Tingen, and that is to sacrifice himself, because Saint Selena, her ashes, her tentacles, they don't want to do anything anymore. They're like weakened, right? So he's like, okay, fine, I will sacrifice myself. And he pushed his hands into his chest and grabbed his freaking heart, like his still beating heart. And Klein saw him do that. He watched him do that. And he was like, what the fuck? And Captain Dunes, he puts his heart inside the urn. And that in turn strengthened the tentacles again. And the tentacles rushed back over to Saint Selena, to the baby, to the hellspawn, to Megos, and wrapped around her. It even wrapped around her belly so that they can stop hearing the wails of the demon spawn. And Klein, seeing the chance, he threw his last flaming sun charm. He threw his last flaming sun charm towards Migos and yelled, light, in Hermes. And there is light. And because the tentacles, they wanted to retreat again, because again, that was the same thing that happened before, right? But because Captain Dunes used his heart as a sacrifice, I'm guessing that he was able to will the tentacles to stay in place and keep Megos there so that they can be fried by the flaring sun charm. So that happened, and Klein, once they won, he's like, oh fuck, I need to get to the captain. He rushed over to the captain and he's like, okay, I can still do this, Captain, I can save you. You totally don't need a heart right now, okay? We're just gonna ignore the heart, the still beating heart inside the urn. I can totally save you with ritualistic magic, because what's magic for if not to save a person without a heart, right? So he is trying that, but before he could do anything, a hand pierces through him, and he's like, what the fuck? Who is this shit now? So he was about to turn around, but he couldn't see the person who grabbed Saint Selena's ashes and rushed away. But he realizes that it is actually the person that's been pulling all the strings together for this event to happen. And he's like, oh shit. And then he died. And afterwards, Leonard woke up and he sees Klein dead lying there and Captain Dunes dead lying there. And he's like, oh fuck, what the hell happened while I was unconscious? Chapter 210, Story. Okay, so this chapter is basically a TLDR of what happened, written by the mysterious person that's been pulling everything behind the scenes, right? The puppeteer, the puppet master. And this is the thing, I thought it was a little bit interesting how everything started with this one guy, Regence, who was a dumbass and accidentally sold the Antigonus family notebook to an ordinary person. And I am wondering, is that actually on accident, or did this guy actually plan it? The puppet master, the mastermind. Did he plan it that this Regence will sell it to another person? For some reason, somehow, one way or another, fate, call it fate or whatever, the book landed in Tingen, where members of the Aurora Order, Sirius Arapis and Hans Vincent, found it and bought it, and they started copying all the recipes and whatever is from the notebook. And they're like, you know what, we need to get rid of this notebook because I don't want the secret order after my ass. So they tried to get rid of it. They sold it to to some random person. They sold it to Welch. Welch is Klein's friend who killed himself and also another friend. And before that, Klein, the original Klein, he actually had the notebook and he was instructed by the notebook that has its own will to send it to Bieber, Justin Bieber, and then he's supposed to kill himself. But somehow Klein survived because, again, Zhou Mingrui went into him and, the whole thing happened. So before that, let's get back to Vincent and Sirius Arapis. So in Sirius Arapis's case, he was very, very curious about the Hornacis mountain range because he figured there's probably some sort of treasure there. So he was researching about it in the library and he figured, hey, you know what? Nobody's gonna know that I am a suspicious being. I'm just gonna use my real name and real address in this place and, not become as... I won't be like super secretive about it. Let's just say it like that. He was just very confident in himself. And that is also where he met Lanivus. And Lanivus and him hit it off because Lanivus was trying to research how to scam people better. And Sirius like, you know what? Let me tell you something. And for some reason, Sirius told him about this evil ritual that is supposed to summon an evil god into Tingen and basically destroy the whole world. And Lanivus is like, yo, that's pretty fucking cool. Let me join that, right? So that was weird. And you know what? When I was reading that, I was thinking to myself, it's very, very fucking odd that Sirius Arapis knows about all of this and that he would actually share it with someone like Lanivus, right? So I had a feeling that some sort of being was not related to the puppet master, but I had a feeling that maybe, just maybe, the Antigonus family notebook was still influencing him because, again, he was researching Hornacis, right? So is it possible that from his research of Hornacis, something in him got triggered and he figured out about this ritual from the evil god and something like that? Or is it actually from that guy, the puppet master? Anyway, Lanivus, he thought Sirius was fucking sus. He thought he was a little bit of a weirdo, but he's like, you know what? I'm still gonna join whatever cult you're doing and whatever shit you guys are planning. Because why not? Why the hell not, right? I enjoy the chaos. So he did that, and during that time, he is actually friends with Hood Eugene. And Hood Eugene, he was able to convince to help him out so that he can manipulate Migos into, thinking that she slept with Lanivus when in fact she was raped by an actual god. And you know what? When I read that, I was like, are you fucking serious? An actual god raped her? I was like, I was speechless. Because, okay, when I was reading about Megos' pregnancy, I didn't even factor in that the god himself could have conceived it with her, like it could have raped her. I was thinking it was some sort of immaculate conception because, again, it's like some sort of antichrist and a hell spawn, demon spawn, whatever. I didn't think it would be like this. Also, yeah, I don't know why it never occurred to me that Lanivus could not have been the person that raped her, because, again, I thought that Lanivus was actually the real father and the soul of the evil god was just implanted into their child or something like that. But again, that's not the case. It was actually an actual god that impregnated her. So I'm like, what the fuck? And because Megos is getting raped by a god, she definitely would have died if it wasn't for Insit Sangwil stepping in and helping Lanivus in secret. See, this is the reason why Mr. Asik's son, his head was missing, because Insit Sangwil was actually the person who stole it, and he halved the skull and gave the other half to Lanivus so that it can be used in the ritual to save Megos so that she doesn't die instantly. And yeah, and also the other half he kept for himself. In a moment of clarity, Lanivus realized, shit, I am actually in danger since this ritual succeeded. Because there is just no way that a deity would have like a human father, right? They are going to fucking kill me if they once they are born. So he's like, okay, I need to leave Tingen, and he started that he left Tingen. But before he left, he actually spread out letters and hints and clues as to what's going on for the Nighthawks or mandated punishers and the machinery hive mind to find, so that they can clean up his mess. And I was like, okay, great, great, that's fucking wonderful. You are fucking scum. Okay, just fucking die, Lanivus. Oh my god, when is this guy actually going to die? He's definitely gonna appear in the second season, right? Second novel. While that was happening, Melissa's friend, Selena Wood, she found the magic mirror that belonged to Hannah's Vincent, and she did the ritual, and that in turn led to, Klein helping her out, and the Nighthawks finding out about Hannah's Vincent being an actual Beyonder, and then Hannah's dying, and that in turn actually led to them researching about him and figuring out who the fuck Arapis is, and that in turn led to Klein killing the guy. And because of all of that, because Klein killed him, Lanivus's plan got messed up. It got delayed. It says here that if Klein hadn't actually killed whoever the fuck Arapis, if he actually hadn't killed him, they would have probably gotten the hints or clues or whatever that Lanivus left behind a lot sooner, instead of having to wait until Migos was 7 months pregnant. And yeah, but that doesn't really matter all that much, because all of this led to Captain Dunes becoming weaker and weaker and getting more insane, which I told you guys, I think like in the previous chapter he started to lose his mind again. All of this started affecting him because he saw the true creator when he was fighting Vincent, right? Like when he researched or whatever Vincent, he saw the true creator that in turn harmed his spirituality, yada yada yada, and somehow his mind started slipping. He became more forgetful, this and that. So all of that happened, and it was planned to weaken him, because again, he is already like power wise, he's already at around sequence 6, and that is also the reason why he was able to fight Madame Sharon. Madame Sharon, by the way, I still think it's really odd, but apparently the reason why she killed that politician is because she wanted to vent her frustration about becoming female, and I just thought that was very odd. It just didn't seem like her. So I think that this is what that Insetsangwil wrote in that notebook and what he willed her to do, because again, it just seems like she's too calculating to be doing something stupid like that, to vent her frustrations and put herself at risk like that. It just doesn't seem like something a cunning woman like her would do. Instead, Samuel also thinks that Klein is hella suspicious, because he's like, how did he actually survive the Antigona's family notebook, first and foremost, and second, he somehow figured out the red chimney situation thing. And he said that if Klein pivoted or something, like he was so close to finding out where he was, if he had a little bit more time, like maybe a month or 2 or 3 actually, he would have definitely found him at some point. Anyway, the fight between Migos and the other Nighthawks happened, and Monster Demisol was mentioned for some reason, and I am so confused just as he is. And I was like, why is he being mentioned here right now? That's so suspicious. I still think it's very suspicious. This guy is like, he's not even relevant. Why is he getting mentioned at the end of this book? Anyways, in Sangwil, he used Saint Selena's ashes and also Mr. Asik's son, the skull half of it, to advance and become a demigod. Chapter 211, Funeral. Okay, this is actually the first time we ever are in Leonard's head. Well, not necessarily his head, but we are in his point of view. He is currently leaning on the back of his chair. He's like healed thanks to ritualistic magic, and he is basically just chilling in a random office building that survived. during the explosion, with quotation marks here, of their building. So he was thinking about everything that happened, how Klein and Captain Dune died, and also how strange it is that Klein's Beyonder characteristics was taken from him, but Captain Dune's was just left there. It's like, that is odd. Why did it not take Captain Dune's, like whoever killed them, right? So while he was thinking about that, he was a little bit numb. Brother was low-key depressed. He looked like he was falling apart. He's dead in the eyes and stuff like that. And while he was thinking about that, Sikatron enters the room. She was like hurt. She was bandaged too, because well, everything was going on over there with like Captain Dunes and Leonard and Klein while they were fighting Migos. She was busy fending off the sealed artifacts in the Chinese gate with the keepers, the old ass dudes. One of the elderly keepers actually died, and yeah, so it was only thanks to the fact that they were saved on time by the mandated punishers and machinery hive mind that she was still alive, because if they didn't arrive on time, she would have been long dead. So that was the case. They were talking about that, and Sika tells him that they actually found an unencrypted telegram in the captain's office, and I think that was the telegram that was sent over to Leonard and Klein like before the battle, but they couldn't really check it out because again, Migos was right there and she was almost giving birth. Let's just say it like that. Because during that part of the chapter, they received a telegram that they didn't really look at. And when I got to the telegram, I thought that it was, a reply from some random dude that Captain contacted. Because again, remember, he was sending telegrams over to the Holy Cathedral to ask for backup. And I actually think that that's not the case. I thought that the telegram was from the Holy Cathedral, but now I think that it might actually be from a third party. I'm thinking Lanivus, because Lanivus, again, he planned for everybody to basically, clean up his mess, right? And I have a feeling that Lanivus knows that Insit Sangwil is the mastermind behind all of this shit that's going on. At least that's what I think, but I don't know if that's for sure true. Anyway, the telegram that they received actually just basically says, beware of Inset Sangwil and beware of sealed artifact 008. I think that's the quill, right, that he stole at the beginning of the story. So that is the case. So Leonard, after hearing that info from Sika, he's like, I'm going to join the Red Gloves. And she's like, the Red Gloves? Those are highly specialized people from the church. So if we found out a little bit about the Red Gloves and what they do. Basically, there are like a special operation agents from the church, because apparently all the Nighthawks, they're only allowed to function within certain territories, right? For example, the Tingen Nighthawks, they are only allowed to be in Tingen unless, of course, stated otherwise, unless they have special permissions. So if the evildoer or whatever, if they left Tingen, they have they cannot pursue them unless they have, special permission with the bureaucracy, whatever, the church, yada yada yada. But that is not the case with the Red Gloves. The Red Gloves, they can travel freely. I wouldn't say they can do whatever they want, because they are still church's dogs. So yeah, that's the case. Also, apparently they are called the pursuers and hunting dogs of the church. So I think this might be the reason why I sometimes see fan art of Leonard as like a dog or with a wolf or something like that. I'm guessing that's the case. Unless, of course, he turns out to be a mutant, one of those mutant beings, and he becomes a werewolf in the full moon. He does have some secrets, Leonard. I remember there was a voice in the donghua whispering in his ears that we never really found out who or what that person was. So, sus. He's still so suspicious. So then Sika tells him Wait, you want to join the Red Gloves, but you know their lowest requirement is sequence 7. And Leonard, as far as we know, he's still like sequence 8, right? And Leonard's like, I'm close to advancing soon, girl. Don't worry about that. Because again, he actually knows about the acting method way before Klein told him about it, but he refuses to be an actual poet. uh, Poetry is not his strong suit. Sika then mentions that it's rare to see a Nighthawks team like theirs become so ravaged because now that half of their team is gone, uh, they are getting like new members from the church to replace them basically. Because if you think about it, is it half of them or more than half of them? Because we only had Freie, Leonard, Klein, Captain Dunes, Royale, Kenley, Old Neil, and Sika, right? I think I had everybody. There's 8 of them. And the only survivors now are Leonard, Sika, Fry, and Royale. So that's like 4 people. So yeah, a lot of them died. More than half of their forces died, and that's crazy. Leonard asked if the bodies are ready, and when Sika said yes, so he goes over to Daffodil Street and knocks on their door. And Melissa is the one who opens it, and she was clutching 3 tickets to the theater show that Klein really wanted to see because he hasn't ever watched a theater show, right? So she looks at him and was like, who is this pretty man? And why does he look so depressed? And Leonard is like, hi, I'm a colleague of your brother's. We work together. And she's like, yes, hello. And she looks over his shoulder to try and see if Klein was there. And she saw no one. So she's like, what's wrong? What's happening? And Leonard had to tell her that Klein died at the hands of an evil criminal while he was trying to save others and that he's a hero, a true hero. And she was like absolutely devastated. And the tickets, they fell down, and yeah, so we cut to a scene to Leonard sitting in their living room explaining what happened and of course the compensation that they're gonna get, which is like £6,000. And Benson's like, no, wait, let's pause here, but tell me, where is Klein's body? Where is my brother's body? And Leonard was like, yeah, he's at the company right now. You can see him. And Benson's like, okay, before we go, I need to go to the bathroom. And you know, when he went to the bathroom, I was gonna think that he's gonna vomit, but instead he washed his face because he's trying his best not to show tears, but he started crying. It's obvious that he's trying to use the water to hide his tears. And yeah, so they went, and then the funeral happened. During the funeral, it was very sad, of course, but it stated that Melissa stayed strong. She didn't cry. And when I read that, I was thinking, oh, this girl is gonna be devastated once they're in private, right? So once everybody left during the funeral, after the funeral actually, once everybody left, and it was only Benson and Melissa, Benson looks over at her and was like, I'm gonna go and get a carriage for us. And she's just like, okay. And she stays there and then starts crying. She's like bawling her eyes out and it's like, stupid brother, how dare you die? So yeah, that was so sad. And then once nighttime arrives, actually Mr. Asic comes over there and he's like, I was only 10 minutes late. If I was there earlier, I would have definitely been able to help you out. Then he leaves a flower, I think. Yeah, I think he left a bouquet of flowers at Klein's grave, and then he left. And then moments later, the grave opens and Klein pokes his head out and was like, holy shit, what the fuck? And he notices that his body is healing. It's healing a lot slower, but it's basically healing itself, just like what happened when he first woke up in Tingen, the crusty apartment that the original Klein was living in. Remember, he shot himself in the head and he looked in the mirror and saw that the bullet wounds closed. And yeah, so that's basically what happened in this chapter. Chapter 212, Avenger. Okay, so Klein is at the cemetery right now and he's looking at his own grave. And he's thinking to himself, God damn, this is crazy. Also, he kind of figured out how, I don't know, but he figured out that he only has at least 2 lives left in him. And he doesn't even know what will happen if he gets minced up or crushed. Like, will he heal himself like this? Or, will he just stay dead? Or will it maybe take a decade or something for him to heal himself? He doesn't know, and actually, I don't think he wants to find out, right? So then he looks at himself and realizes that he's wearing his newest shirt and tuxedo, and he thinks to himself, Benson and Melissa really have no idea how to save money, because he would have preferred to, be buried in his cheapest clothes instead of the brand new ones that he bought. But, Melissa and Benson really cares about him. Plus, they don't really care about the money. So, yeah, I mean, they kind of care, right? Because it is still, they came from poverty. But it's only natural that they'd want him to be dressed in his best clothes during his funeral. So he's like, okay, I still have at least my clown abilities, because he stood up, with like the power of his clown abilities, kind of like, I guess, I wouldn't say he did the backflip, but you know what I mean, right? So he looks at the grave, he looks at his grave, and it's like, I need to take care of this scene as soon as possible. I don't want anyone patrolling, because again, people from the Nighthawk, and I don't know if the mandated Punishers are even patrolling the graveyards, but I know for sure that the Nighthawks, they do patrol the graveyard. So he's like, I don't want anyone to stumble upon me and be like shocked that I'm still alive, because I doubt that's even allowed or legal even within the Beyonder circles. Like, if he suddenly became alive, he's probably going to be experimented on, because whatever happened to him would have been so sus. People would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And they will maybe think that he's probably a follower of the god of death, maybe. I don't know. I doubt corpse collectors would be able to resurrect themselves like this. So yeah, so it's like, I need to clean up the crime scene. Right? So he cleans up his grave, he puts his coffin back in, yada yada yada, and he saw, like, his spirituality saw that Mr. Asik's copper whistle was in the grave with him, because Melissa threw it down there, because when they visited his body at the Nighthawk, she saw that in one of his pockets that the whistle was there, so she just threw it in there, and which is nice, instead of I don't know, keeping it as a memento of clients, or even just reselling it or keeping it or whatever. She sent it over with him, and buried with him was also his topaz pendulum, and the topaz pendant. So it's like a burial object. It's attached to him now. So he looks over and he was like, you know what, Captain's grave should be here too. Let me find that. And he uses the pendulum to find it, to locate it. Yeah, so he finds Captain's grave and it's like, Captain, we saved Tingen, just so you know. And he cried during this whole debacle, and while he was looking at Captain Dunce's grave, and yeah, it was just very sad. Klein enters the Grey Fog world and was like, okay, I am going to divine who the fuck killed me. And I need to do it quick because my body is currently at the cemetery and it's unprotected, so we don't want anyone to stumble upon that. He does his thing. He figures out that it's Inset Sangwil because, again, when he died, he saw his shoes. So his spirituality kind of like showed him what happened like a couple seconds afterwards. He saw that Inset took Saint Selena's ashes and he's like, why the fuck would Inse want Saint Selena's ashes? And then he put two and two together and realized, hey, is it actually possible that he wanted to use Saint Selena's ashes so that um he can level up in his sequence pathway? And yeah, so it's true. So he's like, that is very possible. But then how is it possible that everything like this happened? And then he realizes, hey, actually that guy stole one of the sealed artifacts. That's like sealed artifact 0, which is freaking OP. And he's like, this is very dangerous. And he was thinking, is it possible that the quill can write the what happens in the future, and that's how he did the thing? But then he's like, wait, that's not really possible, because again, that would be way too overpowered, kind of. And he's like, what if actually the quill has the ability to manipulate people and without them knowing? That will make it super OP. So that means that Inset will manipulated everybody by writing with the quill. And it's OP even to the point that it was able to manipulate Megos, who was, who was the evil god spawn in her, the demon spawn. So it's like, that is really crazy. So then he divines where freaking Insesangwil is, and he figures out that it's actually he's in Backlund, and which is why, which makes sense, because Backlund has been built up with everything that Audrey was doing, and also that's probably where maybe he'll actually meet Audrey, right? He won't know that maybe it's wait, actually, you know what? He probably will know that it's Audrey, because he did see her pray to him. But then he didn't see her face, right? Was it obstructed? I don't remember. I think it was obstructed. But it's not obstructed to the point that he can show it to Olger as a message, because then he had to blur her more. I don't remember. I don't recall. But anyway, he figures out that Insesangwil is in Backlund, hence why he's going to Backlund. Chapter 213, Another Look. So now that Klein knows where Insesangwil is, he wants to know where the fuck Lanivus is, because Lanivus, he's not innocent. He is an accomplice of Insesangwil, and he will get his dues. Klein is going to kill him. He is bloodthirsty for that motherfucker. So he divines where Lanivus' current location is, and it shows him that he too is in Backlund. And he's like, okay, what the fuck? But I want to know his exact location. So he tries divining that too, but he couldn't. And he's like, wait, is it possible that Lanivus actually is now a higher sequence beyonder? That is sus. And he's like, that could be possible, or it could be that he actually got some sort of divine blessing from the demon spawn, because he helped create it, basically, right? So he's like, that is also possible. And he was thinking to himself, you know what, now that my foes are more powerful than me, I need to do something. Like, I need to be more powerful than them if I want to kill them, because first and foremost, if Lanivus is like has this buff from the demon spawn, and also has maybe is even a higher sequence beyonder than him, then he'll just be doing a suicide quest at the moment, right? Or even if, for example, if he wants to fight Insesangwil, he has to be more powerful, because now Insesangwil is a demigod. Demigod. What the fuck is a demigod? Anyway, Klein divines the opportunities of him becoming more powerful, and he sees Backlund. But then Backlund changes the scene, and suddenly he sees the Hornasis mountain range, and he's like, why the fuck am I seeing the Hornasis mountain range? Is it possible that it's because of the Antigonus family and their secret treasure that is hidden there? And he's like, suspicious, but I'm not gonna go to the mountain range yet. First, I'm gonna go to Backlund and see what I can do there. With that in mind, he descends back into his original body and looks at Captain Dun's grave one last time. I was about to say Captain Dun's body. It's like Captain Dun's resurrected himself. No. He looks at Captain Dun's grave one last time, and then leaves. And his feet somehow led him to Daffodil Street, where Melissa and Benson are in mourning. And he's a little bit happy, and low-key he wants to knock and say hi, hey, I'm alive, but he stops himself because he's like, I don't want them to, die of a heart attack when their supposedly dead brother comes back to life. We don't want that. So he's also thinking, the good thing about being dead is that anything that I do in the future, it will not implicate them, which I find suspicious. I feel like they are still going to be appearing in the future again. Probably, I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't make sense for them to end here, like their arcs to end here, especially with Melissa. She is. I feel like they're really starting to like showcase her as someone that has a lot of potential, especially with the machinery hive mind. I feel like she's going to be a beyonder in the future. Um, I don't know. It's just a feeling that I'm getting, especially in the donghua when they were showing her and her skills. It just gave that vibe. Also, we are definitely going to be seeing Benson again in the future, probably at Backland even, when he finds a job there as one of those officials, or when he takes the test maybe. Because again, it is leading up to that in some sort of way. So yeah, Klein goes away. He wanders around a little bit until he's tired and sleeps somewhere in the middle of the street because again, he is penniless and he looks like a vagrant, a homeless person, because he just crawled out of his own fucking grave. So he is a little bit covered in dirt, and he has no money right now because again, he was dead and it's in the middle of the night. The banks are, of course, closed because people have lives too. And yeah, they don't have 24-hour banks here. They don't have an ATM. So he can't just go to one and grab some money. He does have money on the secret account thanks to Audrey, remember? So the moment the sun rises and the banks open, he actually goes and gets some of the money that he has there, some of his savings basically, and decides to buy a new set of clothes for him. What is called? I forgot the name in English. A coffer. And coffer. A luggage carrier thing. Where he puts all his stuff because right now he's going to be traveling to Backland. He buys a ticket to Backland for a much later time slot, which is kind of weird instead of, going now. He also finds it weird. He's like, why am I doing this? Why am I not going to Backland now? And he finds his answer when he stumbles upon Melissa and Benson wandering the streets. Because Benson wanted to cheer Melissa up, and there's like a wandering circus around town right now. So Benson brought Melissa with him again to cheer her up, and Klein saw them and was like, oh my god, those two look hella depressed. I really need to do something for them. So he joins the circus low-key and puts makeup on, and then approaches them with his clown makeup and surprises them with the flowers, the yellow flowers, the chrysanthemum flowers. And yeah, that is basically how the story ends, with Klein giving them flowers. The end. Finally, the first part of Lord of the Mysteries is done. We are going to the next volume next week, or the next week after. I don't really know. We'll see. I'm a little bit busy right now because my webcomic is going to be launching in May, and I'm doing some prep work here and there too. Also, as you can guys see, I'm actually working on my webcomic in this video right now. I hope you guys liked it. And it's mostly like sketches anyway. The sketches before I do the line art traditionally. I use my tablet as a light table because why not? And I really like the texture that comes with using a pencil or a marker when I do the line art. I for some reason I cannot mimic that in traditional art, and I was like, you know what, let's just complicate my life a little bit more and do it like this. So yeah, next time, volume 2, I'm super excited. I also want to do like a final review of volume 1, basically, and also add to it the rankings of um the characters that I like and scenes that I really like in that novel, in the whole volume 1 part, because some of you guys requested that, and I thought, hey, why not, let's do it, you know. Yeah, so I hope you guys like this video. I'll see you guys next week, and here is my outro. Before I go, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps my channel out a lot. My commissions are open, and my Vision link is down in the description below. Check out my story, Dreaming of Aurora, if you have the time. And finally, thanks to my patrons, Robek, Vanarik, and J. Voljevelitska for the support. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!